Good morning. It's July 12th, Friday. Another DeVeaux Speaks. Early morning one this time. Watched the news last night, and I think I understand now why some people do not watch the news. At first, I thought, how could you not want to know what's going on in the world? But sometimes you just need to unwind, and the news can be depressing. And I think last night, as looking for things to talk about and watching the news, I think it just was overload for my brain. I was looking, they did a whole segment on this supposed immigration crisis on the board. It's funny how they can make anything a crisis when they want to, right? There's always a weather crisis or a police brutality crisis or a water crisis. But here's immigration crisis. And all these children in cages and people locked in cages and diseases running rampant, no room to sit, just standing room only, men in cages fill the capacity. And I'm thinking, so this is 2019, right? And I know why they don't really teach the truth in school and history. I know why Malcolm X says history is the course that best rewards our research. Because we've seen this before. And I think by not studying history, it allows us to kind of disconnect and think that, oh, this is something new and, it's a different situation. People wear shirts, never forget. And I think they're just talking about themselves, never forget, and not, let's never let this happen anywhere else or never again. It's just, well, just for me and my particular group. I mean, hearing the stories of these horrors and tragedies and kids dying in cages, how could I not think about these World War II concentration camps and shoving people overcrowded into these camps and not concerned for their health, their welfare, well-being? How do we get away with that? And how do we keep doing it over and over again in history? Now, I'm not trying to say Trump is Hitler or anything like that, but I will say he's definitely using some of the same tactics. Because to treat people such a way, you have to dehumanize them first. You have to devalue them first. You have to convince people that these people aren't worth the same treatment that you deserve. You're better than them. There's some type of other. I think the human mind, part of it wants people to all be treated justly and fairly. All men are created equal. But when they wrote all men are created equal, if you were black, they weren't talking about you. If you were brown, they weren't talking about you. If you were female, they weren't talking about you. If you were poor, they weren't talking about you. So you had a select group in their mind. I want to thank the principals when I was at UOC. I didn't even know I had on my UOC shirt today because they allowed me to teach some courses outside of math, that I had a passion for, which was great. All schools wouldn't allow that. And I got a chance to teach a course called Facing History and Ourselves. If you're an educator in New York City or anywhere, I think Facing History and Ourselves was great because I got to teach this course on Holocaust and human behavior. And I have a passion for history, so I enjoyed it. But when I was in school, World War II is like, oh, Nazis, they're the bad guys. And these are the evil things they did. And then the U.S. and the good guys, we came in and beat up the bad guys. The end. And it was really like, yeah, okay, wasn't that impressed. But this course, Holocaust and Human Behavior, really started telling stories of people's lives leading up to the Holocaust in Germany and other parts of Europe. And so, they don't start off right where, oh, yeah, here's the bad guys. It kind of talked a lot about Germany after World War One, the buildup, and what happens. And I really enjoyed that class because you see Nazis when they're just a political party. Now, anybody's wearing a Nazi symbol on their head a Nazi flag. Like, we know what they're about. They know the horror, they know the tragedy, and they're choosing to be associated with that wickedness. But at the time, before World War II and everything, a lot of people, Nazi, that was their political party. That was just the political party they chose to stand with. And then a leader rose up in that political party who was so out there in his thoughts, but in his extremism, he rallied the masses and got people pumped up who were frustrated about their situation, frustrated in their own lives and their own plight, and he created an other. He created these other people are your problem. Didn't it? Not just Jewish people. The other political parties, these communist parties, that they're evil, they're terrible. Got to destroy them. These other groups, these unions. Oh yeah, evil's destroying our country, destroy them. And then the ultimate goal, when you're really going to ultimate wickedness and going to do genocide and destroy groups of people, you got to make them this other. Right? You see, you saw it way back. It just kills me in the conversations. Seeing even black people like myself say, well, what are we going to do with this immigrant problem? Like, what are you talking about? This country all started with we're the other. And in a lot of cases, people still see us as the other. The whole Netflix series, When They See Us, is how you can mistreat and abuse these young black males and black people because they're the other. They're this violent, dangerous group. And so they can get mistreated and they're not worth the rights that are for the other good people because these are these wilding animals. And that's how they go. So in the beginning of World War II, in this Facing History and Ourselves, Holocaust of Human Behavior, you see the stories of everyday people, kids in school, the local carpenter or tailor. And when they started talking about Jewish people as this other, they start putting this propaganda out. Yeah, they're really devils. They got tails and horns and stuff. And you hear people talk about, oh, that was my neighbor. Oh, that was my classmate. But I didn't want to get involved. Once they were put in as the other, let me step back and not associate with them. And then you hear people talk about, yeah, well, when they rounded them up, I just thought they were moving somewhere else. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, so you separate yourselves and you're like, well, yeah, it couldn't be that bad. It's probably not that terrible. And so you allow the government to round up these people, put them in these concentration camps, abuse, misuse them, ultimately kill them, and people just going on through their daily life going to work. You're saying, well, it couldn't be that bad. We got pictures of kids in cages. Not 50 years ago, 80 years ago. We got kids in pictures in cages this morning as I talk to you. And I'm looking at that and I'm upset with myself. Because even trying to be conscious or woke, there's still rings of others, right? Who's close to you. I'm going to protect my family. Then maybe my friends, maybe my neighborhood. And I just thought about it. If my daughter was in a cage right now, down on some Texas border or Florida border, like, what would I do? How far would I be willing to go? What actions would I take if it was my daughter sleeping in some filthy, measles, mumps, chickenpox-filled cage on a freaking floor with no running water? God's telling her to drink water out of a toilet bowl. What would my reaction be? And why don't I have the same reaction when it's somebody else's daughter? That's somebody's children who were ripped from them. And by not studying history, that ain't new in this country. And I'm not trying to blast America. I enjoy the benefits here. I get to sit on this porch and have this phone and share my views. And so there's benefits, but the hypocrisy in this country is so deep that when you have all these benefits, we want to pretend nothing is wrong. Both can be true. There could be terrible things that happen in this country, and we could be afforded some great rights and liberties at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I remember getting into a debate with a guy in Maryland, and I was talking about some of the things that I felt were going wrong in the country and stuff. He's like, well, you don't like it here, just leave. But what the hell? I was born here in New York. You're telling me, where am I going to go? Where it's perfect. But just because I live somewhere doesn't mean I have to be blind to the atrocities that are committed here. Matter of fact, if you really look up the word patriotism, if you really want to be a patriot, the patriot's not the blind person who just goes along with what's going on. I got news for all these guys waving the flags and stuff and think they're just patriots, blindly letting other people get abused because, they're just patriots. They're going to stick with the country and whatever the leader says. That's not being a patriot. That's not the patriots that we learned about in school growing up. The patriots disagreed what was going on, thought something needs to be better, and decided to fight to make a change. That's the patriot. The patriot wants to make the country better. That says, hey, I'm in this country, I'm afforded some rights and liberties, but this country could be so much better than it is. And I'm willing to fight to help change that. And that's the patriot. The patriots need to get on this border and do something and write their congressmen, whatever they got to do to get these people treated better. We're not going to go for it. These people in the news that are interviewing people on both sides, and people are like, well, yeah, these people are coming over and all this money is going to be spent from them and taken away from me. See how they painted them as the other? And poor middle class people throughout the country and frustrated living there, they're thinking, oh, my problems are because of these people on the border. I got news for you. Your tax and stuff you pay, you can wipe all those people out in those camps, and it's not going to change your life. There's greedy people in this country, corporate, who have billions and billions of dollars. They're looking out for their grandchildren's grandchildren, and they're not going to give you more money because you think it's okay for them to mistreat somebody at the border. There's nobody locked in a cage who's hurting you financially. I have news for you. Like, oh, wait, they said it costs billions of dollars to build these camps and take care of these people. You thought that $1 billion was going to you? You thought that if they didn't have to build all these cages and camps, that was more money in your pocket? The people who have 50 billion, they're trying to get 60 billion. The people with 100 billion are trying to get 200 billion. No one's like, oh, there's going to put money in your pocket. And it baffled me how people think somebody who's running from their country, several countries away, 100-mile travel, willing to risk life and limb or drowning to try to get to a better place for their family. And you think that's the person that's making things tough for you? You're sadly mistaken. Look, we got to do better. I get it. The political parties nowadays, they think they Crips and Bloods. There's no longer any, oh, let's think and work together and govern. It's, oh, our leader said do this, we all doing this. Oh, our leader said that, we all doing that. So we're no longer even thinking about working together. I remember when Obama was president, and they showed all the things that he tried to back that Republicans originally proposed. So Obama and his great effort to work together, sometimes I think the brother did it too much. He even looked at things proposed by his opponents and said, okay, I think that's a good thing, let me go for it. And they still went against it. Republicans went against stuff that President Obama opposed just because they were afraid to go back and say they voted along with the president on something, even if they agreed with it, even if they initially proposed it. That's where we are. I remember I used to be able to have debates with, Republican friends of mine, and I like debates. I like spirited debates, and it used to be a good time there. I'm thinking back when Dole was running office, and I didn't like him. He was against unions, but he said some things I like, and there's some values I have that I think are conservative. Used to be able to have discussions. No more. People used to talk about family values and stuff. They're justifying why a child should sleep in a cage with no bedding, no running water, no warm meals, they're going to justify why that's okay, why that's appropriate. Would you want your child to sleep like that? Would your neighbor's child, like how far away from your circle is it okay to treat human beings this way? And, I got to end with this. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to end off. But I know it concerns me greatly. Because once you paint people as the other, and once you start normalizing, dehumanizing people, it often leads to violence. We've gotten to this part now where we're okay with mistreating them. We're okay with, now RAC, we're going on the attack now. We're going to send immigration officers out. We're going to round these people up. We're going to get these people. They're the other. And you're setting the stage for some nut to go out and abuse people and hurt people because, they're the other. And we've already conditioned ourselves that these are the bad people messing up my life. And so we're not going to have that response as if it was my loved one or my family because it's the other. Shocked at my school that even people with Latino ancestry still like, well, hey, I came in here legally the right way, and not wanting to even identify with how those people are being abused. I got news for you. When the idiots come looking for some immigrants that they want to hurt and abuse because they're messing up their country, they're not going to be looking for any identification or green card. They're going to come with anybody who looks like that in their head. And you need to be aware and start thinking and wake the freak up. Sorry, maybe I'm a little harsh this morning. Everybody knows I'm not a morning person, but this is DeVeaux Speaks for July 12th. Y'all have a great day.